Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Okay, now for today's video I thought I'd try something different, but I think it's a pretty good idea to maybe walk through one of these conversations that I've had on the streets. I know you guys all love the conversation style videos. The reason half the screen is blurred out is because this person didn't want to be filmed. It is a public space and it is okay to film, but out of courtesy I've just blurred her out. But I thought we could go through the dialogue together. This was quite an interesting one. This was a sheep farmer. We had the discussion about her being a sheep farmer a little earlier, but I thought we could just run through the conversation together and talk about it. So let's go.
But I do understand what you're doing.
Did you agree with the ethics behind not slaughtering animals against their will and stuff like that?
Okay, so straight off the bat, she agrees with the ethics, okay? She agrees with the ethics of not slaughtering animals.
I mean, sometimes they've got to get to a certain age where they can't carry on. Right, you might not agree to this.
What age is that?
Well, I don't know. They get to a certain, say they get older, they come into lambs, the sheep, then whatever, and they get older. So what do you do?
So she's saying that, basically that the animals get to a certain age and then they have to be killed. Like at a certain age, we have to kill them. Or what do you do? You can't just let them, live out their lives. But sort of my answer to that is we shouldn't be breeding them into existence in the first place to use them for their bodies, and we wouldn't have the problem of overpopulation of animals and what do we do with them all. We shouldn't be doing anything with them. We shouldn't be playing God with their lives. But let's continue.
Do you actually let them die?
Let them live out their natural life?
Would you let them suffer, or would you let them live out the natural life?
Well, I guess we wouldn't let a human suffer either.
No, exactly.
So if an animal was suffering...
So you think that if it's got to that stage, then, if people do eat meat, you know that.
So let's just, people do eat meat. It's quite an obvious statement, but, she might not know that I used to be a meat eater too yet. But the interesting thing people bring up about animals suffering and euthanasia, it sort of has no relevance in the face of animal agriculture because... the animals are suffering because we're breeding them into existence in these factory farms. And if there was like a healthy animal, at your home, maybe a companion animal, and they did develop a disease and start suffering, then you would choose whether it is in that animal's best interest to be euthanized, just like you would if it was a human being and you don't think that the human has an interest in living, but a human can communicate if they don't have an interest in living and they want to go. But when it comes to an animal, you'd sort of weigh it up and you'd go, okay, is it in this animal's best interest to keep going, or am I just prolonging this poor being's suffering? That is a lot different to forcibly breeding animals into existence for the sole purpose of exploiting them, subjugating them, stabbing them to death, killing them for their body parts. That is not in the animal's best interest. That is in no way in the animal's best interest, but euthanasia is.
Yes, everybody's different, but I'm saying is there's
so you think that if the animals are suffering, it's okay to euthanize them?
I think that they should be, if they're suffering, then they should be put down.
So if it's in their best interest,
in a nice ethical way.
So if it's in the animal's best interest not to live, so would you say that these animals that we're eating, they're all suffering of some terminal?
No, I don't.
So we're doing it for what reason? Just to eat their bodies?
No, I don't. But I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but everybody's different.
Yeah, they are.
So she didn't really have an answer for that, which I understand. I think she's confusing herself a little bit, which is quite common. What you're going to see a lot of in this discussion is something called cognitive dissonance, two held beliefs at the same time opposing each other. It's really interesting. And this lady, she really showed heavy signs of it. Let's just keep going.
I can't say anything different because I know what you're going.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
You would say you care about animals yourself, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
And most people would say most people.
It's like I said to her, if I know this is not like.
I genuinely think she does care about animals, but I think she's just a little bit confused on her ethical position.
It's like I've got a cat and a dog. Anybody took and nicked my cat and dog, and
you'd be upset. What if they put them in a slaughterhouse? You'd kill them, exactly.
I'd kill the twats.
And you'd think that.
Whoa, wow. So here we are. She said, if anyone nicked my dog or cat, and I said, what if someone put your dog or cat in a slaughterhouse? She said, I would kill them. I would kill them. Very interesting how passionate she is in defending her companion animals, but at the same time, she would happily pay for other animals to be killed and eaten. let's continue on.
You think you'd have a very good reason to do that?
I would. I'd kill them if they hurt my animals.
So you agree then that animals have moral value, they suffer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
It's interesting that this individual here, most people would think she'd be justified in acting the way that she is right now. Like if anyone hurt her animals, she would kill them. But let's just say there's an animal rights advocate, a vegan, and they said that animals deserve to be defended with violence. Everyone would just, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. We should never defend animals with violence. But if someone was sort of kicking my dog to death, I would do what it took to stop them. And that's what this lady's saying too. But it's almost like when it comes to the other species of animals, these same unwritten rules don't apply because of the species of animals we're talking. If you use violence to defend pigs, you are evil. But if you use violence to defend your companion animals at home, you are noble.
So you would say that if we are killing them for no real good reason, just to have a sandwich, you would say that that's not morally justified?
No, you shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't do that.
So
you shouldn't do that. She said you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't kill animals for a sandwich. But she's not vegan. This is so interesting.
This is what we are doing in animal agriculture.
That's fine then. But no, you shouldn't just think, right, hold on, we're running out of lamb, we're running out of pork, we're running out of beef. Right, look, there's one there. Oh, that looks good. Let's kill it.
Let's kill them.
And it might just be a young cow, a young lamb, a young pig. That's wrong.
She thinks it's wrong to kill young animals. I don't think she knows how young all animals are killed, and the oldest animals are probably dairy cows. Some other circumstances you might have older animals killed, but all animals are basically killed as, adolescents or infants.
Let you know this, all animals are killed really young. All animals are killed really young. So none of them get to live out their natural lifespan. They're all killed at around 1-year-old, 2-year-old, sometimes on their first day of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 6 months old for pigs. So
I think this might be like a social behavior. When you explain something to someone where it seemed to me like she didn't have knowledge of that. She didn't have prior knowledge of animals being killed young. But when I explained it to her, she sort of agreed like she already knew. Like, yeah, I knew that. It was interesting because she agreed with it like she already knew, but it sort of conflicted with her earlier statement.
No, he's filming the whole...
Okay, so what happened there, that reason it jump cut is she had a problem with this guy who was filming for the documentary that aired on SBS there, so she was complaining about that. It's interesting how she deals with this one as well.
Better not be taping me, because if this comes on, I'll be back to you.
No, he's filming the whole thing, and he's
right.
any faces.
I'm talking to you, right?
Any faces would be blurred out.
If I find out that I'm on this, then I'm going to find you, and I will kill you. Never mind killing the fucking dog.
Yeah.
So there she goes. She's basically threatening to kill me, which is one of the reasons I blurted out. I mean, just out of consideration. But it's interesting. Like, if anyone hurt her companion animals, she would kill them. If someone filmed her talking about animals, she would kill me, and yet she's happily consuming the body parts of probably thousands of animals over the course of her life, and trying to justify it to me at the same time while tripping over her own logic and her own ethical position. Really interesting, the psychology behind this.
So you would agree that
everybody's just...
You would agree that the Yulin Dog Meat Festival is completely unjustified and immoral?
The what?
The Yulin Dog Eating Festival.
What's that?
So in China, there's a place called Yulin where they murder dogs and eat their bodies.
No.
Okay.
I've got a dog. That's disgusting.
And here we are, we're at Yulin Dog Eating Festival. I think as horrific as Yulin is, here we go, they're just grabbing dogs off of the street there, like some companion animals. As horrific as it is, it's a really powerful talking point with people who still consume animal body parts and pay for animals to be exploited and killed, because they are so fiercely against this dog eating festival. So many people are against this dog all over the world. There's protests by people who are eating animal flesh, paying for cows to be killed, drinking dairy, trying to justify it. But they'll definitely march against Yulin because it's kind of like a preference to this species of animals, because we've had them around us so much. We've been domesticated. We understand dogs so much, but there is no difference inherently between a dog and other animals. But it's so interesting how people will fiercely defend dogs and be so against Yulin. At the same time, they're probably discussing how against the Yulin Dog Meat Festival they are at the dinner table while they're eating, a roast pork leg or something like that. That's how disconnected we are from the food on our plate. Let's continue.
Okay. So what's the difference between a dog and a sheep? Or
There isn't.
Okay.
There isn't a difference. I've just said to her, if anybody hurt my fucking animals, I'd find them. If I could, I'd kill them.
Yeah.
So I would kill them. But I'm saying is, there's no difference.
So do you eat animals?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So do you feel a bit guilty about that?
No.
This is where it's really interesting. Like, she just admitted there's no difference between a sheep and a dog. She eats lamb. She would violently target someone, kill them, in her own words, if they'd hurt her companion animals, yet she doesn't feel guilty for eating animals. I don't know whether that's true or not. Like, I don't know whether she does feel guilty. She just doesn't realize she feels guilty. I really don't understand. This is like a really classic case of cognitive dissonance. Two strongly held beliefs that conflict with her actions. It's like she holds this belief, but her actions conflict with that, and she's simultaneously trying to justify them to opposing, beliefs. Like, she has her own ethical framework, and her actions are contradicting it, and she's trying to justify it in her mind. It's really, really interesting.
No, not at all. No, I don't. And I know it's...
But you wouldn't eat dogs?
What the hell is like?
You wouldn't eat dogs, but some people do.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's absolutely disgraceful and fucking horrible.
Have you ever thought about why that is? Why you think eating dogs is disgusting, but eating lambs is normal?
See, we could go on forever now, couldn't we?
Well, it's just a question, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'd be brought up on a farm, so...
So you think it's normal, so...
No, I don't think it's fucking normal, but I'm just saying it.
Well, it is normal. And, she's been eating these different species of animals' flesh her whole life. And if someone would dare to suggest she'd eat her dog after she has this emotional connection with them and understands her dog, it's just like disgusting to her, disgusting. But you can have an emotional connection to any other animal. Pigs, lambs, cows, they're all big puppy dogs. It's just so interesting that I'm making it blatantly obvious to her, but she's still not really connecting it.
I think it's actually normalized, it's been normalized.
It's part of life. It's a part of life. People do it. So they eat lamb, they eat pork, they eat beef.
And
there are many things that you could just say they're part of life, like, humans murdering other humans and unbelievable acts of cruelty and violence. Even within the human race, we could just say that's life, that's just life. I mean, we can't just brush off atrocities like this and just say that's just life and then just go on our merry way and contribute to them. Yeah, I think that's a mistake.
Dogs and they eat cats and they eat other animals too. Yeah, they do.
Well,
they do that.
That's sick people then.
But why are they sick?
Because they're sick.
See, this lady would say that these individuals here are sick. Keeps you healthy, it's flavorful, it's nutritious. Look at these, they've been eating dog, it's cultural over there. Look, beef is more expensive than dog. It's just like, why are these people sick? But over in the UK or over in America, where it's culturally accepted and normalized to eat pig flesh and cow flesh and chicken flesh, they're not sick. We're not sick over in the West, but over here where they choose to eat dog flesh, they are sick. In my honest opinion, I think it's all sick. I think it's all cruel. It's an injustice, it's unnecessary, it doesn't need to happen. I don't think it's just life, I think it's just horrific cruelty and death.
Why are they sick?
Because they're sick. Why would you eat a fucking cat and a dog?
Well, because they like the taste of them.
Well, that's disgusting.
They like the taste of dogs and cats, that's why they eat them. I mean, that's disgusting, but you be surprised, it's a very common justification why people eat, other animals. They like the taste. They just can't get over the taste. They love the taste.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go, but...
No, that's cool. Here's a card.
Yeah. Good luck and that, but I better not be on one of them.
No, not at all.
Because I'll find you.
And she finishes it off with the last death threat. I better not be on one of those or I'll find you. So interesting. And she said, shakes my hand, good luck with everything, but... I don't want her to say good luck with everything. I want her to say, like, look, you've actually opened my eyes and, you've got me thinking about this and there is no real difference. And when I go home, I'm going to stop contributing to this violence myself. And it is unnecessary and it is disgusting either way you look at it. But sometimes when you're having these street conversations, you plant a seed, okay? And you jog something in their mind. And she might go home and in a month from now, she might really start to analyze things herself. And, maybe in 6 months, she might have stopped eating animals or she has some epiphany. But it all begins on the streets here when you're planting these seeds and getting people to think about things and just leaving them with a question. When you ask people a question, it lives on. And it's a really powerful thing when you're having these street conversations. So yeah, there's no moral difference between, dogs and other animals. I mean, the cognitive dissonance is strong. So like, if you're still consuming animals and you look at the screen here and you see these dogs being chopped up and it makes you feel kind of sick to your stomach, just think, those pigs that you're eating, those cows that you're eating, those chickens that you're eating, they're inherently the same. They all want to live, and we should respect the lives of all of these animals. So I hope you enjoyed that rundown of that conversation. Quite an interesting one. Leave your comments down below. If you want to see any more videos like this, give this one a thumbs up, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
I'd find him. If I could, I'd kill him.
Yeah.
So I would kill him. But I'm saying there's no difference.
So do you eat animals?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So do you feel a bit guilty about that?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.